joking too, sipping and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all.
That sounds like a party just about to start, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally hit the landmark episode number 390. Why is that a landmark?
That's halfway to 500.
That's right. Thank you for stepping right in with that.
In half, 390 is the number that pops into my head.
That's exactly what works for me. We are so glad you're here
math.
for our program that's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. For our show beer, we do a thing here on the show to kind of like prep the palate, so to speak. We usually will have a show beer. And thanks to Chris Zaharis from our office staff here, Chris picked up a case of Yuengling. And I just wanted to point out that not only is it delicious, but if I'm not mistaken, Yuengling may now be the oldest craft brewery in America because Anchor, was it older than Anchor before?
No, it's it was already the oldest.
It was already the oldest
continuously craft brewery in the United States.
And even though Anchor's coming back, they didn't continue to operate for a while.
Right. But even they were still.
But even then,
than
Yuengling
Anchor.
was older.
Yeah.
Well, I will just say, I discovered Yuengling when I lived in Philadelphia because it's like a rite of passage there. It's just a big thing. In fact, if you were in the Philadelphia airport, right when you like make the turn from, where you're getting from the walkways to the gates, there's a big Yuengling bar there, and it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. But this is a good beer. We've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Yuengling. As a local, here in Texas, I guess we have kind of two equivalents here in Texas. We have Lone Star.
Yes.
Which is not as good.
No, it's not as good as Yuengling.
It's satisfying when it's really cold.
But it's better than most macro brew.
True. And then we also have Shinerbach.
Right, and Shinerbach is the bomb.
Shinerbach is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
And you can get it reasonably ubiquitous around
here. You can get it almost anywhere. In fact, I'm regularly relieved to find it on menus at restaurants when everything else they have is Anheuser-Busch.
I have a brother that lives in Minnesota. You can go into his local liquor store in his small town way up north of Minnesota and find Shinerbach.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing.
I used to drink it when I moved to Boston. I was like, I can get Shiner up here. Cool, And then I discovered some of the cool Boston local beers.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. But at first, I was like, it was comforting to be able to find my Shiner Bock. Yeah. But Yuengling now, there was a long time it was not available here in our home state of Texas.
No, and I have a sister who lives in Pennsylvania, and anytime I went to visit her, I would come back with a few cases of it.
Yeah.
Because people were always like, they wanted that nostalgia. They wanted to try that Yuengling, and I'd bring back a few cases, and everyone was happy. And I love the fact that we get it now.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. So, big news in the Smokin' and Toastin' world. A new affiliate will be joining us in a couple of weeks in Flagstaff, Arizona, and so we'll have the full details. But yeah, very excited to bring on Flagstaff, Arizona, and of course, don't forget Winona.
Winona's.
I got it. I got it in the meeting. I got it. I get it.
The reason I did this is I tried this in the staff meeting earlier, and almost nobody got it except for Terry. Route 66, the famous song Route 66.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona. Something, San Bernardino.
Yeah, I didn't know the rest too.
Yeah. The only words on that song that I can remember are "Get your kicks."
On Route 66. Yeah. It's good. There's a great Depeche Mode cover of that. By the way,
that's probably one of the reasons I know it, because that for a while got drilled in.
Yeah. It's a great cover, actually. Well, welcome to the show. It's show number 390, as we mentioned. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. On today's program, what bartenders wish you knew. I think this will be entertaining. I think that one will be fun. Yeah. We want to say big thanks to last week's special guest, Smokin' and Toastin' bottom shelf expert Joel Swift, and our whiskey expert Christopher Hart. By the way, the Buzzballs hangover from last week's show finally subsided for me yesterday. So it's good to know that it does.
Buzzballs are effective, if nothing else.
And by the way, we mention this from time to time, but how smoking and toasting directly influences sales. I got a text earlier today from our friend Alan Denny with a picture of the Buzzballs that he bought that he and his wife are going to have tonight. And I just said, wait a second. We were doing it like for the entertainment value. Like we were doing it for science. You didn't have to do that,
choosing
Alan.
this for home tonight.
Yeah, this is...
And in their defense, we found some of them that were actually drinkable.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And also later in this show, and I'll just give a little teaser right here. I did one at home. I did the old fashioned ready to drink cocktails.
And we have a video segment of this,
yes,
don't we?
We'll be dropping that in segment
exciting.
3, I think is what we're going to do.
Looks like it's something to look forward to.
Did you already finish your leftover Buzzballs from last week?
My wife has been poking at them one at a time.
Yeah, he had like one for everyone we had. He had another one, and I got to thinking about that later. I thought he went home with like 9 Buzzballs.
Yeah, well, I bought 2 because they look small. I didn't know
bought
how
2
much
of every one, right?
Yeah. One of them split between 5 people was actually playing. Like there's truth there.
It was it was pretty fun, I have to say. It was pretty fun.
I love that I brought the 2 best palettes that I know onto the show.
Right.
Buzzballs.
Yeah, but
Joel Swift and Christopher Hart.
Christopher Hart, his stuff was great last week.
Oh,
I think he had the
man.
line where he said something like, "I like it, but it makes me angry."
He's generally pretty good like that. He's generally pretty good.
This is fun.
Well, hopefully you won't get angry at some of the things we'll be trying on the program today. In addition to the segment where Ian will try the homemade cocktails, the whiskey cocktails, we'll also be trying some beer from Concord, New Hampshire, and High Branch Brewing Company. It's their Mexican-style lager called Vamonos.
Vamonos.
That makes sense, right? From Equilibrium Brew. Oh, I'm so excited about this. It's a collaboration between 2 breweries that I think are just freaking fabulous. Equilibrium Brewery in Middletown, New York, and Parish Brewing Company in Brousssard, Louisiana. Yep.
That's 2 worlds colliding.
They have made a variation on Ghost in the Machine called MC Ghost.
Whoa.
It's a double IPA, and we will be trying it today on the program. I have not had this, so I'm super psyched.
MC Ghost.
Yeah.
I love it.
Think about it. Ghost in the Machine is so good, and we've now tried like 4 different variation versions.
So good, every single one of them.
And every one of them has been good. So
every single one.
I now realize that the can that I was earlier. I realize now.
That was,
Yep. I wasn't even paying close attention, but
before the show
it
starts,
was an awesome can.
Terry shoots like B-roll stuff of the different cans and bottles that we'll be sampling, so that we can put it on the screen in the video version of the show when it comes up. And that was the MC Ghost with the skull on it. Yeah, very exciting. And then as if it couldn't get any better, but maybe it can.
There's more.
Yep. From right here in our hometown of Houston, Texas, we'll be sampling St. Arnold Brewing Company's 30th anniversary Grand Cru.
Nice.
I saw that. I saw that when I came in.
Ale aged in bourbon, whiskey, and wine barrels.
FYI, I've now bought 2 bottles of that.
Have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, so this will be the.
I was thinking I would end up buying probably a 6-pack's worth and drink 3 of them, and then see what the next 3 would do over the next 3 years.
Yeah. All right. Well, this
was kind of my idea.
Wow.
This should be fun. Also, we'll be tasting a particular spirit today from Jalisco, Mexico. I bet you can't guess what spirit it is. It's a tequila. It's Osadia Tequila, Anejo, and we'll be tasting that on the program today. So, a lot of stuff coming up, including, of course, Drinking News, which is our segment on the program where we bring you a story from the news, a real actual story, and it is sometimes, but not always, involving drinking, but it is always best enjoyed when you've been drinking. And today's Drinking News teaser headline is, I'll take my chances with the Sharks. We'll do a drinking fact. Our teaser for that is, sir, yes, sir. In fact, let's just do that now, Terry. If you don't mind,
into drinking fact.
We're just going to go straight to the drinking fact.
Let's just do it here.
All right, here we go. And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drinking fact.
You know, I'm going to be so bummed when I run out of drinking facts because I love that cheesy fanfare so much.
The echoey voice, the cheesy fanfare, really.
Smoking and toasting drinking facts, true facts about drinking according to reps for Jack Daniels. The largest buyer of their single barrel whiskey in the world is the United States military.
Wow.
Oh.
Terry, I think you should just play the fanfare
Interesting.
again. Just that's our new thing. We play it at the beginning of the fact and at the end after the fact has been announced. Yeah.
It's so nice.
Think about
You've got to
the
play it
military.
again.
United States military.
You got a bunch of guys that
yeah.
that are going in, and if you're new in the military, you don't have a lot of bills to spend your money on.
Right.
Right? They're taking care of your 3 hots and a cot
Right.
and all that stuff. So you can
Yeah,
afford to buy yourself something a little next level, right?
Some at the PX store.
I love it. Yeah.
And I will tell you that that Jack Daniel's single barrel is outrageously good. Like the single barrel,
Yeah, we've had it there on the show before.
yeah, all those
Fantastic.
next level Jack Daniels are so good.
Once you get past the old number 7, it all gets pretty good. You know?
Yeah, it goes from old number 7 to really freaking good.
So some things are like that. Also, let's just get all these things out of the way. We'll do our little beverage of mystery here, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
go
All right.
ahead.
We're gonna go
because
for
it's already been poured and it's time to get down.
We're
here.
just knocking out business.
Yes, we are.
The beverage of mystery.
By the way, our beverage of mystery music is "The Visitor" by Shane Ivers. You can find him at chosick.com. Thank you, Shane.
And this
for
is
letting
mysterious.
us use your stuff
It's
here.
mysterious.
This is the
What we
beverage
have
of
is
mystery.
a charcoal gray.
Is it gray or
Maybe
is it like a
slightly
purpley?
It could be grape.
purplish.
It could be awesome grape, or it could not be grape.
Grape, babe.
Ooh, it does not smell like awesome.
No, it doesn't smell like much at all, actually.
Yeah, there's not much on the nose.
Yeah,
is there?
I'm not really getting a whole
All right,
lot.
all right, so let's see what happens when we imbibe.
It doesn't. It smells.
Oh, it's maybe a little grape. I don't.
It smells a little bit like concrete after the rain.
That's not a bad smell.
It's not necessarily a bad smell. Like I'm not. I'm not bashing it with that.
It's got like the.
I haven't tried it yet. It got closer to my nose. And
When does Concrete After the Rain sound like a hairband song from the 80s? The video with a half-naked girl dancing around this big room and sparks are flying everywhere and chains are hanging down and the band's rocking out. My favorite.
concrete after
I'm just
the
gonna
rain.
let you
Should
go,
be in the
man.
rain
You
and the
just-
concrete. Concrete, yeah.
The comedian Patton Oswalt has this great diatribe about the video for "High Enough" by Damn Yankees, where he says in the video all the guys in the band are they're locked down in this house, this sort of shack-looking house, and the cops are all outside ready to take them hostage, and they start shooting at the house where all the guys are. And he said, I just love the way he says it. Then Ted Nugent kicks out the door and starts deflecting bullets with the power of his rock. He comes out playing his guitar solo, and the bullets are just. Beep, 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 beep.
I feel like that's real life.
Yeah. All right,
I
we
mean,
got
the Nuge, man.
the Nuge.
This kind of tastes like one of those great barrel drinks that you get the kids over there at Fiesta.
Like those grape things in the little
little
plastic
barrel,
things
little
that,
plastic
that
barrels.
always leave that crud in your throat when you swallow them.
Exactly.
I don't think it's
It's
quite
a
that bad.
sour
Oh, it's not
ale of
bad.
some
It just
sort.
tastes
Yeah.
like, yeah.
All right, we'll reveal and we'll
It's-
talk about it when we come back because I think we got to talk
It's not
about
bad, though.
the flavor of this a little bit more. So we take a break and we shall return. It's smoking and toasting.
The beverage of mystery.
So I had to do that again because we got to come back and talk about this. This is way too interesting and complex
it's a
to not
fruited
talk about.
sour ale of some sort.
Yeah?
It's
I like
actually-
it.
The more I drink it, the more I like it. I didn't really like the nose very much,
There wasn't much on
There's
the
not
nose.
much, yeah.
but now that I'm drinking, I'm actually kind of liking it. Is it glitter or stuff in there?
Is
I
it
don't know.
glitter?
I don't want to know. I was watching the first couple episodes of the new season of Big Brother, and one of the contestants is a chef, and she puts edible glitter in everything.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, just stop. Stop
My
now.
wife just bought some packets of that.
Edible glitter?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be fun the next
I think she
day.
found it at Specs.
So you're
what
right
goes
about
in glitter comes out glitter.
yeah, that's for sure. I always thought it's the most interesting thing about how dancers at the topless bars have glitter all over
Yo,
there.
glitter is insidious.
Yeah. So what husband
everywhere.
what husband that comes home and goes, "No, I wasn't at a strip club." Yeah, well, you got glitter all over your face. So I think maybe you were.
I was in a 4th grade art project.
That's right. That's what it was. So let's reveal the beverage of mystery. Here comes the big reveal. Is that a beverage of mystery can in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? It's a can, and we are trying something called June Shine. It is a hard kombucha. How do you say it?
Kombucha?
I meant to look it up. But it says it's called Midnight Painkiller, pineapple, orange, and nutmeg. And the brand is June Shine.
Other than being wrong on every fruit and nut that was in there on the flavor, it's really good. That was not what I was. Orange.
You know, we've only done kombucha a couple of times on the show.
Did you flip this can to activate it?
I did, yes.
Did you flip this can to activate it?
It's funny because they
Wonder
have some of
twin
the
powers.
stuff written upside down and some of it written right side up. Upside up, right side up.
Right. I think the activation just gets the nutmeg
The nutmeg,
Nutmeg
yeah.
powder, yeah,
probably.
yeah.
That's what I'm guessing is. But
Yeah.
it
Pineapple,
was-
orange, nutmeg, green tea, June kombucha. Immerse yourself.
I
in
think
unique
this is my
twist.
favorite kombucha that I've ever tried. I've only tried a few, but I think I like this one the
I
best
agree.
of all
This
I've tried.
never
says
tried one,
immerse
but it's
yourself in a
good.
unique twist.
I know
on the classic painkiller cocktail. Curious,
I
meets
love
mysterious.
painkillers, by the way.
In
Those
this
are
bold batch of
great
booch. Oh, it's apparently just called booch.
Booch.
When you're in the know.
When you're in the know.
Of the-
I'm sure that Adam is, our producer, Adam in the Sky, because he loves kombucha.
Let's go get some.
I bet he
booch.
calls it booch. Adam,
Booch.
weigh in, buddy.
That's jam packed with all the juiciness of the jungle pineapple, orange, and nutmeg, paradise, and pomegranate. It's actually pretty good. Like the more I sip it, the more I like it too.
How about your cigar? Was it any good this week?
My cigar was interesting this week. I picked up a Macanudo Emissary España. It's gorgeous. It was a Toro 6x52.
Just out of curiosity, how long has it been since you had a Macanudo?
It's been a while. I actually tried a Macanudo like 2 years ago because I looked it up to see if I had any that I'd reviewed. So it's been a couple years at least. And Macanudo is just a ubiquitous brand, so I don't always go for them. They're usually a little on the lighter side too, although not always. So this is this was a Toro 6x52. Uses 5 different nations in this cigar.
5 different nations
Different
worth
nations,
of tobacco. Yeah.
nations. You got a U.S. broadleaf Claro, aged 5 years. Nicaraguan Condega binder, 6 years aged. Filler from the Dominican, Colombian, Nicaraguan, and Spain, all aged from 5 to 10 years. The appearance on this: dark ruddy brown, inconsistent texture, oily dark blue and gold emissary, dark blue and gold emissary band, green footer, pre-light sniff, earthy and chocolate, fruity at the foot. Are we getting too close here?
I think we're all right.
Pre-light draw punch. I used a medium draw. I used a punch. I got a medium draw. Rich dark earth, mocha, fruit, creamy, sweet, coffee, and campfire. This thing really promised to be really nice. The initial light on this: rich earth and wood, mocha, and sweet rum. Coffee also on there. Retro Hail is brownie batter and cedar. It was absolutely delicious on the beginning of this. First third of this: cedar and toffee mocha, nutty, hint of cinnamon, salted caramel. Retro Hail is brownie batter and cedar, flaky ash, good burn. Proposed pairing: I decided coffee, espresso martini, or that
Nice.
Macambo rum that we had was
Yeah.
so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Fast burn on this, 15 minutes. I'm at the second third of this. Spicy undertone ramps up. Retro Hail's brownie batter and cedar, flaky ash, perfect burn. The last third of this, really fast burn. 25 minutes in this cigar. I'm on the last third. Consistent flavor, consistent Retro Hail, flaky ash, perfect burn. At $15,
Yeah.
I give it a 4.
Yeah. 15's a lot.
$15 is
And
a
you
lot
said it
for a
didn't
cigar
burn
that
for a
burns
long time.
35 minutes total.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And by the way, if anything about the show today is disjointed or isn't coming together quite like it should, I think we should really still blame the buzzballs from last week. That's what I'm. If you didn't check out last week's show, it's entitled "Buzzballs Bonanza," and it's worth going back to check out because Ian brought one or more of every flavor of buzzballs that exist.
Yes, and buzzballs.
And we drank them
By
all.
the end of it, we figured out that they are effective.
Yeah, in terms of
Yes, they're effective.
giving you a buzz that you can feel, in your
So,
balls.
Macanudo Emissary.
Yeah, the cigar. So you
España.
gave it a 4.
I gave it a 4. Our price to quality scale is a scale of 1 to 10, but if you give something a 5, you get exactly what you're paying for. I gave this one a 4. This is a $15 cigar. It smoked so fast, I was actually a little startled by how fast it smoked. 35 minutes till I was burning my fingers.
You want more than 35 minutes out of a $15 cigar.
Well, weirdly enough,
even if it's
a
really
Toro.
good.
It's a 6x52.
Yeah. So when it smokes,
That's
so
a
fast.
pretty good sized cigar to be smoking that.
Were you in the
fast.
wind?
No, I was sitting inside. I was at Casa de Monte Cristo.
Wow. Okay.
No breeze there. So anyway, so the thing is, the flavors were outrageously good. I love what this cigar was doing. I just felt like I got a little shortchanged on the cigar itself.
Couldn't agree
You know,
more.
if this was an $8 cigar and all that, I've been super happy. But anyway, enough about that. That's the whole reason I got it for.
You brought us a video clip that you shot earlier this week
I did.
at your house. Tell us about what we're going to look at
So
here.
my wife had this fun idea. She wanted to go up to Specs. She wanted to buy some different ready-to-drink cocktails, the old-fashioned specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So we found 4 of them, and they come in kind of bigger. Like, they didn't have individuals for most of these. They come in kind of bigger bottles. So it gets a little pricey when you're buying a bunch of them. But we found one from On the Rocks brand that used Knob Creek. We found one called Slow and Low, which my wife's actually had. They do have small cans of that occasionally, and that one is that's one she's had before. We had one that was made by Bullet Rye.
Yeah.
And then we had one that had
Glenlivet.
oh, it's the Glenlivet one, yeah, with the little twisty top that mixes the stuff. So this was all 4 of them. You're going to see what's happening in the video. Just watch the video.
Check it all out here.
This is Ian from Smoking and Toasting. This is Aja, my cat. She's come by to visit. So today, just for fun and giggles, my wife had a fun idea. We're going to try out some old-fashioned pre-mixed cocktails. Now, as a control, my wife has made me an old-fashioned. There's my cat again. But we're going to try out the, I don't know how to say that, Hofstadters, Slow and Low Rock and Rye, made with straight rye whiskey, rock candy, raw honey, aromatic bitters, and a navel orange, coming in at 84 proof. We're going to try out the On the Rocks premium cocktails, the old fashioned, crafted with Knob Creek. We're going to try the Bullet old fashioned cocktail. Obviously, that's going to have Bullet bourbon in it. Made with Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey and orange bitters. Last but not least, the Glenlivet Old Fashioned. So this comes in a bottle like so. It says perfect for sharing. And then apparently you twist it and mix it. So if I twist this top, oh, you see that? Squirted some stuff down in there, and it changes whatever's in this bottle into an old fashioned. I assume we need to do a little bit of that. Awesome. We'll be right back. We're going to prepare everything. We're going to do a blind taste test. All right, we're back. Now we have all the pre-made cocktails set up here and ready to go. And my control is this one that my wife actually made, not a pre-made cocktail. So this one I get to try. Also, I have my cup that holds a cigar. I figured it needed a cigar in there for this show. That's a dang good old-fashioned. So that's going to be my palate cleanser this whole time. All right. Ooh, so we got polka dots. We got horizontal stripes, vertical stripes, and swirlies. Not that kind of swirlies. Don't be thinking it that way. All right. It smells nice. It smells orange. It's a bit different in color here. Substantially lighter than the one that I have. Drinkable. Actually not bad. It's not what I expected. It's a little sweeter. It's a little cane sugar kind of sweet in there, interestingly enough. I'm going to start on this end. This one's a little darker in color. Again, real old-fashioned. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, this one has a marked, distinctive nose to it. These two taste almost identical with the addition of orange on this one. Yeah, it's like this one if you just simply took out the orange. The rest of it, the body of it, the sweetness, almost everything is identical. Even the general flavor, the aftertaste is almost identical. The nose is vastly different. This one smells more like a Scotch, actually. Although I don't think that's the Glenlivet one, because the Glenlivet had the lightest color, and I think that might be this. But maybe that's the Glenlivet. I don't know. We'll figure it out in a second. My wife's back there smiling. She knows all the answers. These two are better than this. This one's okay. It tastes like rock candy. It tastes like kind of hard candy, but not necessarily in a good way. There's a funny aftertaste on that one as well. I'm gonna go for a little bit of palate cleanser here. That's a good old-fashioned. Let's see here. Last one. This is the lightest one. This one has almost a sweet, like almost a bubblegum kind of nose to it. Oh, this one's quite drinkable. This one's different than all the other ones. Very different. Very different profile. These two are almost identical. This one's more orange. This one I did not like very much. This one keeps giving. It's interesting. The flavors keep going in it. It's a little bit lighter overall. I like that it's not as sweet, and you get a little more whiskey taste to it. Okay. So, I don't know exactly if we're rating these or what we're doing, but old fashions I liked in order and the amount I like it. Definitely like this one. Okay. Definitely didn't like this one. These two, this one's a little more orange, this one's a little less orange. All right, in order of how much I like these now, also comparing them to an actual old fashioned, I would say the top three of these are very drinkable. The top two being, toss that in a glass and go with it. Is it an actual old fashioned that someone just made? No, but it is actually pretty good. These two are a little too much for me. Okay, what's the reveal? Do you have the... Okay, so we're going to pause. We'll be back with the reveal. A little bit of time travel later. All right, so the reveal is now. We're going to start with my least favorite one so far. Okay, what's in the vertical stripy glass? Bullet old-fashioned cocktail, best enjoyed straight up or over ice, made with Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey and orange bitters, coming in at 37.5% alcohol by volume. Least favorite. All right, coming in polka dots. Now this is a classic. This is the Slow and Low Rock and Rye by Hochstadters. I think that's how you say it. The Slow and Low Rock and Rye. And we've had this before. This is one that my wife has gotten over and over again, and they come in a little tiny can too, so you could just have a cocktail. Like, you toss it in a purse if we're going somewhere and have a cocktail. Straight rye whiskey, rock candy, raw honey, aromatic bitters and navel orange. This one's very orange forward. If you like the orange and sweet, this is quite drinkable. All right, swirly. This is the one I first guessed might be the Glenlivet, although I kind of suspected it was going to be a lighter in color, actually. But this one, quite drinkable, a little on the sweet side. Very similar overall profile to this without the orange. And that, of course, leaves the last one as the On the Rocks brand. The old-fashioned, a rich and smooth old-fashioned crafted with Knob Creek Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Out of all these, this I think is the most fun and drinkable. I would actually buy this and take this camping, stuff like that, where you don't have to sit there and mix it and all that stuff. Have you tried these yet? She's tried all, and she's making the face. She doesn't want to be on camera. She's like, I'm not ready for it. Anyway, so definitely like this one. This is definitely worth the pro. Do you remember what the price was on this? No, this one was $17. This one was. Oh, we have a receipt somewhere.
20.
This one was 20 something, and this one was right at $20. I think too. Oh, $14. Okay, so this one's probably in the neighborhood of that.
I think
but
it was like $12.99 or something.
okay, so $12.99. This one, I really enjoyed the flavor of this one probably more than all the other ones. Awesome, that was fun.
So fascinating stuff there, Ian. That's, I mean,
Well, it was pretty fun. It was just an impromptu thing, and I set up my iPad with the camera on it. Figured I'd just my cat made an appearance too. That was fun.
Yes, and I love how you had the control of an actual old fashioned. To me, that's the key, because so many of the canned and bottled cocktails, you're like, okay, this might be pretty good, but then if you actually have it side by side with the real thing, sometimes that'll help you go, how well is this actually?
Yeah, how does it actually
measuring up?
stand
Yeah,
up? Because sometimes you can
exactly.
get your taste buds acclimated to that, to the pre-made ones. But I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was my wife's idea, and I totally was like, okay. And then I was like, do you want to be on camera? She's like, no. She goes, I gotta get my hair done, I gotta get my nails done, everything else.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Guys, we don't do any of that. We go, yeah, I'll shower later.
You know what my concession was? I put a hat on for my hair.
There you go.
Which shirt was this one? Oh, this one's a little less dirty. I'll just put this one on.
This one doesn't smell
No
as
one
bad.
can see the dirt on this shirt, so that's what I'm going to go with. Our first beer taste of the day is the Vamonos. It is a Mexican-style lager from High Branch Brewing Company. It is 5% ABV, and as you can see on the can, they use the colors of the flag of Mexico. And this is their.
That was lovely.
I have not tried this before.
It smells really nice.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Already, just from the scent of this, I want chips and salsa right now. Like, can we get chips and salsa in the studio?
This is nice. I'd like a little bit more bubbles, actually. Like, if I was going to complain anything, I think a little more bubbles.
I like that it's a little salty. That totally works in the in the area of thinking about having it with enchiladas or fajitas.
Oh, now I want that.
Or maybe some chips and salsa.
Some queso.
Yeah, some queso. Yeah, just
Head
that
over to
extra
Molina's
saltiness.
right after this.
Yeah, baby.
If you're ever in this area of Texas, there's a restaurant called Chewy's that has the best green sauce.
You know,
yes,
I'm
they do.
so
And
sad
the
that
creamy
they
jalapeno.
closed the one on Westheimer by
my
me.
wife can.
Yeah.
My wife can make that green sauce.
stuff
Or
is so
her
good.
green
So
sauce is
good.
just as good.
I think
yes.
you can look up the recipe for it,
Yeah, you
too. It
probably
is
can.
so good.
I'm so
I
sad
love
when they
that.
closed the one. It was just so sad.
When I first started the company and I was like always broke, I would go sit at the bar at Chewy's at happy hour, drink happy hour priced beers, get chips and hot sauce, and they have
The salsa's quite good, too.
yes, the sauce is great, and get a little of the green sauce, and they have this dish called the Elvis and Priscilla.
Yes,
but you could get
yes.
just the Priscilla, which was just this one taco. Dude, it was a feast when you were broke, and you get out of there for with a couple of beers, you're still out of there for $25.
Yeah.
It's
So
like a
you
great
said
thing.
they closed the one. Was that the one right by Kirby?
No, the one
Oh, you're
over
talking-
over by closer. It's not quite to Gessner.
It's further
You're
out
talking
west.
outside
yeah.
the loop.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
outside the loop, but like
Okay,
right
yeah,
by
so
my
I've
house.
used that one too. I was gonna say the iconic one though is the one that's just outside of Montrose, right over
Actually,
there.
the real iconic one is the one I used to go to in Austin
Right.
back when I was in college,
Oh.
and that Chewy's is amazing.
That's the one.
Yeah, that is the one. But in any case, yes, this is a good beer. I like this very much. I don't have your same complaint about wanting more bubbles. I think
I
it's
think
fine.
a little more bubble would make it a little.
It does have a lot of
spicy.
bubbles.
It's a classic Mexican lager, extremely drinkable, and it's 5%, which is kind of cool. So I don't know that I like it better than Scout, but boy, do I like it.
Scout is
Hard to beat.
epitome of the style, though.
Hard
Like, it's so
to
good.
beat. So, all right, good stuff. Recommended. Let's take a break, and we will be right back. You're watching and listening to Smokin' and Toastin'. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer. I got a little verklempt from the opening of that beer. I was so excited. Craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of cigars, tell you about what I smoked for the show this week. See, notice how I've been working in that language. I smoked it for the show. I didn't smoke it for myself. No, it wasn't just for me to enjoy. I did it for the show. That's right. But I had the Buffalo Trace Toro this week. Now, I really didn't know what to expect from the Buffalo Trace cigar. I've often found that the brand extensions from a beverage to a cigar have not gone all that well, although there are exceptions, like Metallica's Blackened series, for example.
Man,
that's
a great
fantastic.
cigar and
Yes,
a great
it is.
whiskey.
But then again, the brand in question here is Buffalo Trace, the brand that has probably single-handedly done more to solidify the quality of the world of less expensive whiskey. And let's remember, the Buffalo Trace Distillery is also responsible for bringing us a few other noteworthy whiskeys, like, Eagle Rare, Weller, E.H. Taylor, and, Blanton's and Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah.
So it's not like they get the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm
when you
saying.
put it that way, I have quite a few Buffalo Trace on my shelf.
Yes, you do. Yeah. And well, you should. And by the way, I'll just mention, Ian gave me, I think it was a Christmas present, gave me a bottle of Eagle Rare. It's one of the most enjoyable bottles of whiskey
It's so good.
I've ever had.
And listen, like don't buy it on just don't buy it on secondary if you can help
Yeah,
it, man.
no.
When you find it at actual retail, it's a $40 to $50 bottle.
And oh my God, it's amazing. Amazing.
It's so good.
Anyway, so this cigar was nice looking with the familiar Buffalo Trace logo and typeface on the band, as you can see here, or here and here. The wrapper was a bit mottled, but almost exactly the same color of brown as a glass of its namesake whiskey. So that worked, right? Pre-light sniff and cold draw, grassy barnyard notes of wet hay and a freshly mowed lawn gave me the impression that the tobacco might be a little green. There was some underlying spice, which made sense because even though the Buffalo Trace Toro was manufactured in the Dominican Republic, the blenders used barrel-aged Piloto Cubano and Nicaraguan fillers, a Brazilian Arapicara binder, and a Sumatra wrapper from Ecuador. So I was expecting a little pepper once I lit it up, and I didn't.
No.
Despite the Piloto Cubano and the Nicaraguan fillers, the pepper stayed more in the background, while a distinctly oaky wood note took center stage, along with coffee and leather and a note of citrus zest on the finish. The blend was rather pleasant, medium-bodied to begin, but the underlying pepper note seemed to promise that the Buffalo Trace Toro would be moving towards a more peppery balance before the cigar was done. One of the things I liked best about it was the mouthfeel after exhaling. It left just this slight tang on the tongue with the citrus notes very noticeable on the palate long after blowing the smoke out of my mouth. So very, very nice in that respect. Second, third ramped up the pepper a little bit and kind of solidified my palate's take that it was predominantly black pepper that I was getting. Mm-hmm. The oakiness remained. A little of that grassy note from the pre-light made itself known. Construction, by the way, spot on. And the draw was just how I like it. Big mouthfuls of smoke. I flicked off the ash about every inch or so, but it hung on like a champ with no extra flakiness. About halfway through the cigar, I decided I'd pair it with some whiskey. So I got up, I went looking for my bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Choice.
Yeah? So I got up, went looking for my bottle of Buffalo Trace. Turns out, must have gotten polished off the last time I had some friends over, so I could not find Buffalo Trace anywhere in my bar. So I wound up pouring an Elijah Craig private barrel selection that Christopher Hart gave me. Bada bing, bada boom, great pairing. At first, I thought the whiskey was
Good
going to
save.
overpower the cigar because it is a big whiskey. But as I smoked a little further, they found their mutual meeting point and made the whole experience that much more enjoyable. Kind of like at the end of a rom-com, when everything just works out. Kind of like that. Final third, quite honestly, didn't change much from the first two. The Buffalo Trace Toro wasn't necessarily a cigar that weaved a whole bunch of different notes in and out as it smoked, like the Epicurio La Historia that I talked about last week. But I did really like the flavor profile that it offered and pretty much stuck with for the duration. In the end, I found the cigar to be a pretty good namesake for the Buffalo Trace brand. It certainly wasn't the most nuanced or the craziest flavor bomb ever, but it was solid and consistent, kind of like the whiskey itself. I did read a few reviews online of people who actually paired it with Buffalo Trace, and they all said it went pretty well together, even though I wasn't able to test that part out for myself. In the end, I really enjoyed the Buffalo Trace Toro. I probably won't buy another one, as my taste tends to run a little more towards the earthy, chocolatey kind of smokes. But it was a very satisfying cigar, and maybe a good one for those who like lighter cigars and are looking to maybe take a step up a little bit, in strength. At $7 to $8 a stick, though, it performed beautifully. Price to quality, a solid 5.
Nice.
So there you go. I'm still lifting the old beer, but apparently we have a new one here. And I'm looking at it. I'm calling it a beer, but honestly, I think you may have poured orange juice in my cup.
It looks like orange juice,
That
right?
that looks like
Definitely.
orange juice. The kind where they
it's-
go, it's not from concentrated,
Right,
fresh squeezed. Yeah.
And it has like at least a medium pulpiness to it.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
this
it does.
This is MC Ghost. It is a double dry hopped IPA that is a collaboration between two of, honestly, the greatest breweries in the United States, Equilibrium Brewery and Parish Brewing Company. Parish out of Louisiana. Honestly, Parish is one of my 3 favorite breweries. They're just exceptional. And everything they put the word ghost on that I've tried has been outrageously good.
I don't know how they do it. This makes me want to cry a little bit.
And you're not even an IPA guy.
Like, this is so good.
Yeah.
So let me explain. Like, first off, it is juicy and ridiculous right up front, okay?
Oh, it is.
It's crazy. It's like makes your mouth water.
Yeah.
And all the juicy and bitterness hits the outside edges of your tongue. Bam. And it's gone. And then you end up with this sweet, slightly malty but sweet finish.
Yep.
That just lingers and has just the tiniest bit of hop hanging around it. It's so good. And it's very hoppy beer. So I'm not, it's just
it
it's
is.
just how do you make a beer this hoppy and not have the hop linger in your palate like that?
Because the juiciness just kind of makes it so smooth on the finish is why.
This beer is made with magic.
Middletown, New York is the home of Equilibrium Brewery. We've had a number of their beers on the show before, and we've always liked Equilibrium. In fact, sometimes I'm able to get a number of beers from there, and sometimes I feel like I have too many. Like, oh, I can't bring that on the show. We just did Equilibrium Brewery, so I drink it that night at home while I do the dishes. But honestly, Equilibrium is wonderful. Parish Brewing, Brousssard, Louisiana. I've never been, but we have to go. Remember when we finally were able to do a show at the Lone Pint Brewery in Magnolia, Texas, and I likened it to Mecca, like making a journey to Mecca.
Coming back home.
I think that going to see these guys in Brousssard at Parish would be the
reach
same.
out to them, maybe schedule
They're
that.
so freaking good. Like, what have they ever done that hasn't been amazing? Including this beer. By the way, if you can find MC Ghost, don't even hesitate. Buy it. Buy as much as you can.
So this whole line, their whole Ghost in the Machine. I remember one of the early times we had Chris Hart on the show. He had brought some Ghost in the Machine.
I think that was the first time I ever tried it. Was when he brought
This
it on
was
the show.
before you could get it here, and then
Yeah.
they got distribution here, and then they have the double Ghost in the Machine, and then they have the. What's the other ones we tried? We tried a few of them.
Yeah,
and
we've
every single one of
An
them
Imperial,
is so good.
Yeah. Oh man,
That's
I
so
got to
good.
tell you, these guys know what they're doing when it comes to IPAs. And to be honest, I'm an IPA person. I drink a lot of different IPAs, especially a lot of hazies and juicies, which are my favorite style. These guys put them to shame.
When
They really do.
when I drink an IPA, because I don't like run of the mill IPAs are just run of the mill to me. I don't bother with them, just because I like other styles better.
Yeah.
when I drink an IPA, this is the kind of thing I want.
Yeah, I think
Ghost
so.
in the Machine is one that I'll get regular. Any of the Ghost in the Machine line, obviously. The Lone Pint is fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, any
absolutely.
of those, but you got to have like that level for me to even start. And I'll take any one of these.
So I think we've run overtime in this segment. We will take a break, and we will be back. You are listening to and watching Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. God, I love that sound. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. So today's show debuts on the 27th of July. So still July, late July, but still July. And, whenever, as a young man in the summer, when late July rolls around, I immediately start thinking of course, Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, it's time for Oktoberfest beers to start coming out. And even more than that, my friends, you know what else it's time for? It's time for one of my favorite cigar times of the year, the Quesada Cigars Oktoberfest. And they are getting ready to ship this year's Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest by Quesada was one of my early favorite cigars. I just absolutely
That
adored
2016,
them.
though. Remember how good
Yep.
that one was?
Oh, it was so good. Well, the limited edition smokes are released once a year, and they were on display at this year's PCA trade show. They're made in the Dominican by the Quesada factory, and Oktoberfest has always been intended to pair with beer ever since the seasonal brand debuted in 2011. They're blended
Challenge
for
accepted.
medium to full-bodied strength. They consist of a dark Mexican San Andreas wrapper and Dominican binder and filler. And Quesada Oktoberfest 2024 will be available in 4 sizes: Bavarian, which is 5.5 by 52; the box-pressed Kaiser Ludwig, which is 6 by 49; Das Boot, which is 6 by 52 torpedo; and Uber, which is a 6 by 65.
That's
What?
my favorite, the Uber.
Yeah. And there's a 5th side called Kugel, which is 5 by 58 Perfecto. But it's just
So that one just looks like a
Yeah.
a cudgel, like a beaten stick.
that. Yeah, but that's just for Quesada events. Like you have to have a Quesada event at your local tobacconist to be able to get one of those. And all right, before we try our tequila, here's a line of cigars that I know absolutely nothing about, but I'm including their products here just because I love their name. According to their press release, League of Fat Bastard Cigars is thrilled to announce a significant expansion of its distribution network across the Asia-Pacific region and the Middle East, and reinforcing its commitment to making premium cigars accessible globally. And they go on to talk about it, but League of Fat Bastards announced distribution agreements with distributors and retailers in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, New Zealand, and the Middle East to all of my favorite local smoke shops. And you know who you are. Please, please, please get some League of Fat Bastard cigars in
Yes.
stock. I will be there with cash in my hand.
Yes.
I want to try this. Never have I wanted to try a cigar so badly just because of the name. I have no idea if they're any good or not.
And I just want to hear a bunch of people in other countries not know what fat bastard means and say it to order it with
How
a
do you-
serious face.
How do
you know?
you say League of Fat Bastards in Taiwanese?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
And then there's also the lost in translation part of it, because you call
That's
someone
what I
a
mean.
fat bastard.
Yeah, they
It
don't
doesn't
know.
necessarily mean that it means it literally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
It could be a figuratively.
Could be. Anyway, but imagine what you could do with it here. You could team up with Founders because they have the Dirty Bastard beers.
Dirty bastard and a fat
Yeah.
bastard.
You could team up with
Walk into a bar.
Yeah. You could team up with Old Dirty Bastard from Wu-Tang.
Everwood.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of whenever
Yeah.
Well,
you
you
say
could
that
have.
one.
You could have. You're right.
could have.
You're right. Yeah, we're a little past. We're a little post-speak. All right, so it's time to do a little sampling of the spirit. Now, this is Tequila Anejo.
Ooh, it smells
from
like tequila.
Osadia, and it is 80 proof. It is 100% agave, and it is, of course, from Jalisco, Mexico. And you've already been sampling. What are your
It
thoughts?
tastes like a snickerdoodle.
A snickerdoodle tequila?
It is all vanilla and sweet and delicious. It tastes like
Ooh, it does. It actually
it
does.
tastes like when you get an awesome cookie that has icing on it. Tastes like that icing. It's absolutely outrageously.
I really like shortbread cookies with just that little layer of icing on it. Yeah.
It's just enough, right? Mm-hmm. This is very dessert-like. I actually am really enjoying it.
Yeah, it is.
The
very
first
dessert-like.
sip, and there's a little bit of pepper back in it
On the finish.
It's not without a little bit of bite. And there's a little bit of heat that happens after you finish.
Correct.
So again, it's not like without a little bit of bite, but it is really sweet and really interesting right up front.
I really like this. So the vanilla and sort of
Icing,
molasses
cookie.
sort of notes are often my favorite in tequila, and this is really good.
Almost smells like a stroopwafel.
Oh my God, I love stroopwafels.
They're
Are
so
you kidding
good.
me?
They're so good.
They've got that caramel in the center.
Middle, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, put your nose to this and think about it.
Yeah.
it really does smell like
does.
a stroopwafel with a little heat to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what stroopwafels are, you can
get
buy
some.
them at your grocery store. Just go get them.
Yeah.
And by the way,
And I'm sorry, stroopwafels come in one package size, and that is one serving.
yeah,
I know on the back it may say serves 15.
yeah.
Eat
But
two
much like
stroopwafels at a
potato
time.
chips, they come in single serving bags no matter what size that
or
bag
single
is.
serving cans in the case of Pringles. Yeah. No, I will just mention though the little store downstairs in my building actually has little stroopwafel packages with just two of them in there.
Oh.
But
It's probably better for your health.
they have like chocolate and
Oh,
a
you get the
couple
flavored
of other
stroopwafels, yeah.
variation.
So
flavors.
Lance Armstrong, we all remember Lance Armstrong from bicycling. Mm-hmm. Loves stroopwafels too, and there's a company called Honey Stinger that makes energy gels. You
Yeah.
know, when you're out working out and stuff like that.
Is that what he was juiced up on
Quaffing.
when he did the?
This is the legal side of it.
Yeah.
You could quaff a honey stinger gel, and it had a lot of honey. It was, made with
Yeah,
honey.
yeah.
Stroopwafels are also made with honey, and so he reached out to them and had them. This is how I understand. He reached out and had them start making, like instead of an energy bar, he had energy stroopwafels, and so you can buy them.
Nice.
To this day, Honey Stinger makes them, and they're absolutely delicious.
There was only one in a sack.
It's way better than a Cliff Bar.
And this is way better than most anything else you could drink. Actually,
There's that.
this is really delicious.
It is.
It's like a
It's so good.
vanilla dessert stroopwafel treat in a glass. You are right about the caramel and vanilla that you get from a stroopwafel being replicated here.
Yeah, it's I would have never guessed this in a tequila.
Honestly, my friends,
all places.
Osadia tequila. This
What
is
was
well
do you
worth
remember the cost on this bottle?
about $60 if I recall.
Man,
yeah.
They have the Reposado and the Blanco as well that are a little less, but I have not tried those. I just love though this vanilla and caramel. To me, that's what I love, and it's why I so often bring añejo tequilas, because if I'm going to buy the bottle, I almost want to go for the añejo, even though it's more expensive, because
so
what I
good.
like is that
Is the añejo.
vanilla and
Yeah.
and that's what you're more likely to get from the añejo than from a younger blend. But
this is so outrageously delicious.
it is
And,
very much a dessert tequila.
We
Isn't it?
have been accused of liking a lot of stuff on our show, and the truth is, we're gonna buy stuff that we think we're gonna like. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how that
Hey, you
works.
see that dusty old bottle in the back? Yeah, we're not going
There's
to
a
buy
reason
that.
I brought MC Ghost today. I'm like, we're gonna wind up liking this. And same thing for, although you never know with different tequilas are different. There's certainly some I like better than others.
Yeah, we've had a few that
that is-
we're not total winners,
But,
but
you have to say the goal of the show is not to lead you in the wrong way. So you're not going to go buy bad stuff to say,
Well, sure.
just to say it's bad.
Sure.
The goal of the show is to lead you in the right direction
Of course,
what to get.
we'd rather tell you about things that we think you're going to like than things where we go, yeah, you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
Although Ian does have a fondness for things like Lord and other nasty.
There
and
is some
disgusting
disagreeing views on the show sometimes.
well, it's not disgusting. It's, and I quote my friend Big here.
things. Yeah.
It's difficult to appreciate.
Difficult
It's challenging.
to
Sorry, it's
appreciate.
challenging,
To appreciate. I believe it.
I like it, but it makes me angry.
What was that from?
That was
Chris
last
Hart.
week. That was Chris Hart. I
that was
just
Chris
can't get
Hart on
over that
last
one.
week's show.
I like it, but it makes me
absolutely
angry.
love that.
I hate
like
myself now.
I like it, but it makes me angry. Couple minutes left in the segment. I want to tell you about a few books that you might be interested in. This is from an article at AmericanCraftBeer.com. If you are a craft beer fan and you're interested in reading more about craft beer, The Complete Joy of Home Brewing is the first one. It's by Charlie Papazian. And,
Or how to sanitize over and over and over again.
it is widely considered the Bible for homebrewers, so yes, definitely that. Then there's The Beer Bible by Jeff Allworth. It's another classic, an encyclopedic guide to the world of beer, an in-depth look at different beer styles. You'll learn a lot, and you'll be able to amaze your friends. In fact, you'll probably be able to piss your friends off with your beer snobbery once you read this. But there's another one called Tasting Beer, an insider's guide to the world's greatest drink. It's by Randy Mosher. They call it an essential guide for anyone who wants to deepen their understanding of beer. It covers the history, the brewing process, and how to taste and evaluate different styles. So I like that they go into how to taste and evaluate part of it. To me, that's one of the most interesting parts.
I wonder if they have like complete illustrations of the face to make while you're sniffing the beer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the beard that you should grow in order to be able to taste the beer effectively. There's The Craft of Stone Brewing Company, Liquid Lore, Epic Recipes, and Unabashed Arrogance. It's by Greg Cook, Steve Wagner, and Randy Clemens. And, of course, Greg Cook and Steve Wagner founded Stone Brewing. So this is kind of their story about how they built Stone, which was, of course, in 2022 acquired by Sapporo, Japan's oldest beer brand. But it is a fascinating read for anyone interested in the craft beer
Arrogant
industry.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But it got beat out by Avery's quadruple ale,
Ooh, nice. I like that.
which I drank way too many of those last
Then
night.
there's Brewing Up a Business, Adventures in Entrepreneurship from the founder of Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. I'd really like to read that one because I love Dogfish Head. Sam Calagione is the author of that. What's interesting about this list is they left out what I think is one of the best books about craft beer, which is Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out.
That is a
which
great
is
book.
the story of Goose Island in Chicago, which was one of the first breweries to be bought by a
That's a
mega
different
beer.
style of book, though. That's really that really dives into how the industry reacted to it.
Yeah,
But it also has the history of Goose Island itself. It's really interesting. It goes a lot of places. It gets dark too.
I've been watching this this series on. It's only the first season of it, but it's the series on Apple TV Plus called Presumed Innocent with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's really, really good. But what I thought was really interesting about it, it had this one little moment that I was like, total like. Hats off to the producers and the people who do this, because it's set in Chicago and there's this scene where a couple of the characters are having dinner and one of them is having a Goose Island IPA, and I thought that's a Chicago beer. I probably wouldn't even drink one here. It's not that great of an IPA, but in Chicago that's a thing,
the
right?
beer, yeah.
And I thought that is such a wonderful, like, they didn't make anything out of it. It's not like spotlighted in any way. It's not part of the story.
It just
made it
is a
happen.
detail.
Loved that little detail that made me go, "Yep, that's happening in Chicago."
That's good. I like that.
I love when that stuff happens. All right, it's Smoking and Toasting. We got a lot to do still on the program. We still haven't gotten to our.
I have a problem.
What's that?
I've run out of tequila.
Oh, I think we can solve that. My glass also has a hole in it.
Has a hole in it?
We'll get to that. We'll take care of that, and we'll get to drinking news coming up in just a few minutes. And as if all of that weren't enough, we still haven't gotten to what bartenders wish you knew. So we'll get to that coming up. It's Smoking and Toasting.
If only you could hear what we say in between the sets.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Ian just poured me a little more of this MC Ghost. You notice how it's like a darker color towards the bottom?
The bottom, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, very very fascinating, and still enjoying this this delicious tequila.
It's quite good.
Fantastic. And in case you haven't Heard it. It's Osadia. I think this was about a $60 bottle, worth every penny, in my opinion. I recommend
Only
it.
if you really want delicious tequila.
Right. If you don't want delicious tequila,
Yeah.
definitely don't pay that much. All right. So, what bartenders wish you knew? I have a lot of friends who are bartenders. In fact, some of my bartender friends actually, kept me from getting my ass kicked back when I was a club DJ. Spinning music in clubs. They were very protective of me, which I appreciated, and always took care of me at the bar. But they have some concerns because they need to make a living as well. So we're going to talk about some bartender things bartenders wish you knew, specifically about tipping. And this first one kind of blew my mind because I totally do this, and I thought it was a good thing, but maybe not. The first one says tipping big early on won't necessarily get you better service. And this is something I always do. When I go to the bar, I always first drink. If I'm going to be there while I already have a number of drinks, right? First drink, I always tip the bartender like a 20, right?
Yeah, I've done that.
It's the way to say, hey, I'm going to be here. Please don't forget about me.
Yeah.
It's my way of showing that I'm going to take care of you, right? But this article in foodandwine.com says, I've heard a lot of bartenders say you can't buy their attention or affection with a big tip. One New York server told me. Sometimes people drop a major tip at the beginning of the night just to get an in, but a busy bar is a busy bar. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bummed about that one because I thought that was kind of one of my secrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like tip
I've
big
done it.
early
I've
on.
done it too.
Yeah, tip big early
I'll
on.
tip $1 per drink.
Yeah.
If I get along with the bartender pretty well, I'll bump that up 50%. Ish. So if I buy two drinks, $2 tips easy, $3 if we're doing well, and then later on in the night, if I had a great time with that guy, at the end of the night, I'll drop
drop something
a
solid.
decent tip.
Tip on the total, not the subtotal, is number 2.
That's the
list.
other thing.
A lot of people think you should just tip on the subtotal before tax. A Brooklyn bartender says, no, do not do this. And I understand. Now, here it's interesting based on what you were saying, Ian, because the $1 for one drink rule is totally acceptable, bartenders say, except when you're ordering cocktails. The consensus among most of the bartenders who we've spoken with for this article is that you should tip $1 per beer, but $2 per cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people will go to a bar and they'll order a round for their friends. A New Orleans bartender said, if it's a round of cocktails, they'll only tip me $4. And that's and they use rude in parentheses move. I think he said something else, most likely, that we can only speculate about. Also, they say tip first in cash, even if you plan to use a card, says one bartender. Too many times people skimp when the tab gets too large, and bartenders know it.
Yeah, when you start looking at 20% of that,
Yeah,
that $120,
$150
$150 tab,
Yeah.
you're like, oh man. But yeah, no. So I try to always have cash on me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's tougher because a lot of places are completely cashless
and
now.
I don't carry cash. I never do.
So I always
that's
try to
tough,
have
yeah.
some cash on me.
Yeah.
If it's a 2-for-1 special, they say tip for 2 drinks. When people get free drinks or 2-for-1 specials and don't tip or tip on only one drink, that gets me fired up, says a bartender from New Haven, Connecticut. What, you think your tip goes toward the cost of a drink? Like at the end of the night, the boss makes us cover the deficit? Nah, man, I serve you a drink, you slip me a tip. That's literally my take-home pay.
So with friends that are bartenders as well, if a bartender hooks you up, with
Like
it could be a
great
free
pours?
drink or
Yeah.
an extra pour or something like that. I always tip the amount that I would have paid for
Well,
that.
many bartenders rely on tips for a living wage.
Yeah.
That's number 6 on this list. So they say, I wish people knew that bartenders, like a lot of servers, get paid less than minimum wage. We survive on tips. If you hate your bartender, you should still tip properly because it's a pool, says one bartender. If you hate me, fine, don't order from me. But if you stiff me and keep ordering, it affects the bar back and everybody else as well. And finally, number 9, there's no need to wave cash around. It will not get you served faster, the bartenders say. Don't wave your money and try to flag me down with a full bar. I see you, and I'm working on getting to you. Now, I will admit, I have before accused bartenders of having this skill, which is the availability to move from point A toward point B without ever making eye contact with me in the middle. But I get it. I really do. All right, we got to take a break. We're over time here. It's Smoking and Toasting, and we will be right back. Drinking News is next. back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And I just want to mention, like, it's not that often in the show that I will keep coming back to this, but this tequila gets better and better as you drink it. And not just because of the intoxication factor.
That's good.
Yeah. It just tastes amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what a great tequila. I will be buying more of this. And considering that
You might have to buy more of that after this show.
but considering that I'm, constantly buying new tequilas for the show, it's really a thing to say I will buy more of this.
Yeah.
But I will continue to replenish my supply of Skelly.
When we notice the trend that you keep bringing the same tequila to the show every time, that's when we'll...
I'll be like, hey, guys, I got a tequila for
tequila.
you. It's the Osadia tequila. You'd be like, yeah, we already did that one. Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but it was
that's
good. Let's do it again. All right, my friends. It's time for that point of the show that, despite our best efforts, has become the most popular part of our program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Drinking News.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. I love all the different voices we have.
Cheers, y'all. Rowdy Yates, ladies and gentlemen.
Rowdy Yates.
The legendary radio personality, Rowdy Yates. Gotta love that. Today's drinking news story centers around the idea of trust and honesty in a relationship. I have a simple test that you can use for yourself to determine the level of trust and honesty in your relationship. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Here it is. Your significant other is holding your phone and legitimately needs to get some information from it, so they ask you for your phone password. Did your blood just run cold? Did terror strike your heart? Are you wondering if you could just jump in the water and swim away? If so, there's a good chance that your relationship may need a little work where trust and honesty are concerned. I mean, I get it. I've dated someone who always set their phone face down when I was around, obviously not wanting me to see any text that might pop up on the screen. Without going into detail, I can tell you that there was most definitely a reason for that. And if you're not being fully honest with your partner, if you have something to hide, even going to jail might scare you less than giving them your password. Just like in today's drinking news story about a Florida man who was caught on body cam footage from
Caught on body cam.
Yeah, that needs a song.
Yeah, caught on body cam footage from two Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission officers who stopped
That's a little harder to rhyme.
I didn't know
the
they
Florida
had
man,
those body cams.
who was identified only as AJ, and his girlfriend on their boat off of Key West because of some code violations. Now, all of this would not have been that big of a deal, probably just like a minor fine. But when running AJ's name through the police database, they found out that the Florida man had an outstanding warrant.
Was a warrant a man? Warrant.
Because of course he did.
Of course.
Because Florida.
Yes.
AJ, who was decidedly not excited about the prospect of going to jail, asked the two officers what would happen if he just swam away. Yeah, because that would solve everything.
Officers love those questions.
Forever.
The officers actually pleaded with him, saying that swimming away would add a felony charge to his woes. And as it was, he could probably post about a $3,000 bail and be back out of jail until his court hearing.
I have a question.
Yeah?
This is in Florida, so aren't there things like gators? If you swim away.
You can tell if there's going to be a gator in the water if you reach down and feel the water and it's wet. There's going to be a gator in there.
Yep, in Florida, that's how it works.
Well, the officers pleaded with him, saying that swimming away would add a felony charge to his woes. And as it was, he could probably post about a $3,000 bail and be back out of jail until his court hearing. AJ, of course, replied that he didn't have $3,000. And then that was when his girlfriend, who'd already been begging him to shut the hell up and stop antagonizing the officers, got the idea to call AJ's boss for aid in the situation, presumably to ask if he could help them come up with the $3K for bail.
Florida's man's boss.
The girlfriend found AJ's phone to attempt to retrieve the boss's number, and that's when the situation took another turn.
Wow, this is so much different than like you're sitting on your house and on the sofa next to your significant other, and they're like, "Hey, let me have your password." This scenario you have brought is way different than that.
Unable to unlock the device, she then sent was probably a rather large chill down the spine of the Florida man by asking him for his password.
Can I get your password, please, honey?
In the body cam footage,
Cops there.
AJ was clearly terrified by this.
Wow. What is in your phone that you have the cops there?
Much more so than the prospect he was already dealing with, which was incarceration.
That's all right. Just take me to jail.
As the girlfriend continued to plead, just give me the damn password. AJ added a felony charge to his rap sheet by jumping overboard into what has been described as, and I'm quoting here, shark-infested waters, end quote.
Oh, so alligators weren't the only thing
That's
he had
right.
to worry about.
Rather than give his partner the chance to see anything that might
Wow.
be on his phone.
Sharks biting on your balls.
I don't need you to see Lurlene's photograph in there.
He began swimming then to shore, all while stopping between strokes every so often to maintain his claim of innocence. About 7 minutes later, yeah, it wasn't me.
That's the Shaggy defense. It wasn't me.
That's a good one, too. About 7 minutes later, as he was approaching the shore, the Fish and Wildlife officers jumped from their boat and snapped handcuffs on the Florida man, who was arrested and taken to jail. The unnamed girlfriend, incidentally, broke up with him before he was even herded into the police vehicle. Nothing has been revealed about exactly what was on the Florida man's phone that caused him to brave sharks and a new felony charge in order to keep his girlfriend from seeing it. But here at Drinking News, we're guessing that it was probably
with another man.
it was probably more than just another terrible meme collection. We're just guessing. Now, if you're in a relationship and you wouldn't be willing to let your partner see your phone, there's clearly a reason for it.
Again, I'm pointing out that there's the difference between I'm sitting on the sofa and next to me is my significant other who happens to have the phone and needs to do something and says, "Can I?" and someone who's about to get arrested in shark-infested waters and just like, "No, I can't give you the password."
I mean, but so the other side of this is if he gave her the password, she might have been like, "Well, you're going to jail, buddy."
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Look, if you're in a relationship and you wouldn't be willing to let your partner see your phone, there's clearly a reason for it. And in most cases, it's probably text from a secret lover or
Lurleen.
maybe something even more embarrassing, which leads us to this completely unrequested Drinking News Top 5 list with appropriate apologies to the David Letterman Show. These are the top 5 things your partner might discover on your phone that could be more embarrassing than text from a secret lover. The top 5. You have a little top 5 music for us?
Top 5 music.
Yeah. Number 5. An email thanking you for your purchase of those pills that are supposed to help you enlarge your manhood. Number 4. Your
already knew that.
Spotify playlist of your favorite Cardi B songs. Number 3, a receipt for your monthly charge to the OnlyFans page of Farah Abraham, who rakes in 6 figures a year selling her poop in mason jars.
I was like, is that the Octomom?
No. She rakes in 6 figures a year selling her poop in mason jars.
Ew, that's real. That's
Yeah.
gross.
Number 2.
That's really specific.
Number 2. Video of that time you had too many buzzballs and decided to try singing Bohemian Rhapsody on karaoke. And the number one thing that your partner might discover on your phone that could be more embarrassing than text from a secret lover. Number 1, your internet search history for a questionable site involving baby oil and midgets. I'm sorry, that should have been baby oil and little people. I got confused because the site actually calls them midgets, or at least I hear that's what the site calls them.
I've heard.
Asking for a friend. Reporting live from Key West, where I am desperately trying to figure out how to delete stuff from my phone. My name is Cruz, and that is your...
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for... You know what? You should probably just use the... Like, mine has a secret thing that doesn't record the... Sorry about that. I got distracted.
Private browser.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Oh, I like that little trill there.
This is the exact right word.
I mean,
for it.
really, wow.
That's going to earn you some more tequila, sir.
I mean, I
I
say,
love the way that cork
It's
sounds.
like this is one of the best corks we've ever had on the show.
in the middle of the water, just like, no, hon, I can't give you my... Did he think she was immediately going to be like, all right, now hold up, officers. I got to go through this phone and find out if there's any picture.
Well, she was looking for his boss's phone number so she could
she probably would have
get
found
some
it
help
pretty
for the
quick.
bail, right?
This poor girl's trying to help, but you know what he was thinking too. Like she's got his phone now and the password.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have tons of time in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Actually, he wasn't going to jail till he jumped over, huh?
Yeah.
Or no, he
I
wasn't
mean,
going to jail because they said he could
had
bail
an
out.
He had an outstanding warrant, but for $3,000 he could have paid the bail and
Yeah,
not gone.
he
to
could have
jail.
gone, yeah.
Yeah, no. So he was thinking, okay, she gets the password, and then she's got as much time as she wants to play with my phone.
Then she won't
Yeah.
pay the bail, so that she...
Because she'll look on the phone and find plenty of reasons not to pay the bail.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get
That's funny.
it. I get it. But no, that's a real thing. Like, I really did date someone who turned their phone upside down.
If I'm in a restaurant, a lot of times, like if me and my wife are hanging out, I'll turn my phone upside down just so it's not like flashing lights and distracting and stuff. And my wife actually has my password. I don't care.
See, same thing for me. My wife has my password.
Like, you want to get on my phone?
It
Get my
doesn't
phone.
matter.
I
But
got
see,
nothing.
that's about honesty and trust, which is what the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
point of this, like honesty and trust. And I get it because I've been in both kinds of relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Those where there is honesty and trust, and those where there's
See,
not.
my password is my thumbprint, and so is hers, so all we have to do is wait till the other one's asleep.
Right, but there's always a manual password though. That's the thing.
There is. There's
so
always
that
a
someone
manual
else
password. Yeah.
can
Don't you
get
feel
your
like
phone
getting
if you
really
want them
drunk
to.
tonight?
Yeah.
She's really asleep like that. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, how drunk would you have to be?
Oh, no.
If there's something you don't want them to see,
Yeah.
to give them your phone.
No, but
password.
that's a true thing. Actually, my friend, she has young daughters that are 10 years old, and one of them, she likes to get on the phone and play Roblox like that. But she knows her mom works overnight, so sometimes in the evening she'll be asleep. So she'll come over to her mom, she'll grab her phone, and she'll grab her thumb, and she'll put her thumb on the phone, and then she
Oh,
can
my
just
God.
go play Roblox on the phone.
Wow.
Kids can be
Thank
clever.
God the mom is, she's just, there's nothing on her phone that the kids aren't going to see. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah,
she's,
sure.
but she just does. I was like, did you just use your mom's thumb to open the phone? Yeah.
Now, I will say, we didn't have cell phones when I was a kid, but if we had, I certainly wouldn't have wanted my parents to be able to look on it. Like, that would be a
Exactly.
thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way that you would actually want that. So, anyway, that's our drinking news for this particular program.
Yeah, that's trust issues. If you can't give somebody a password, you're going to literally jump off the boat and go straight to felony land.
Right, exactly. It's not
I love
like,
how you said 7 minutes later.
7 minutes after he jumped off the boat.
So all that energy he spent, and they were like, the officers were like rolling their eyes like,
If you go watch this body cam footage, it is amazing how the officers plead with him, like, dude, don't do it. It's just going to be a felony, and you really don't want to do this, man.
We're still going to catch you.
It's like, it doesn't. But again, I had to keep reminding myself, freaking Florida.
Yeah,
Also,
Florida.
sharks biting your toes.
Right? Yeah. That wasn't even like a thing. And again, like Terry said, the gators. The sharks.
Just
it's like
anything in the water. It's Florida.
Florida. Come on, man.
Florida.
You want to stay out of that
do you
water.
think
Oddly enough, home to the manatee, which is the gentlest thing ever.
Do you think that Walt Disney, when he set up the Reedy Creek project, real estate project, to go out and look at Florida, thought that Florida would ever be what it is today?
I don't know. But all I know is that I love Cigar City Brewing in Tampa and their Florida Man Double IPA. That is so
Their Maduro
freaking
brown ale is so
good.
good.
Yeah,
Nice.
so freaking good. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back to wrap things up. It's Smoking and Toasting. Do we have another? Oh, we have another beer.
We have another beer.
Ooh.
Oh,
Another
we're gonna do that next. It's Smoking and Toasting. I love how you do that sort of like shuffling attempt to pop the top.
That's for the sound effects.
I love it. It's like reminds me of like back in the '80s when I did like a morning zoo radio show.
Yeah.
We had a character who would call and like do goofy bits, and their thing was when they went to hang up, the phone would always be like clackety 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 clack. That's kind of what that's like. Yeah. Instead of just hanging up.
Just hanging up the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that we here at Smoking and Toasting are very proud of is the craft beer scene in our hometown, which is Houston, Texas. It really is a good scene. And a lot of people, when they think of the Texas beer scene, think of Austin. And it's not that there are not great
No, there's
breweries
some
in
great
Austin,
beers in Austin.
But we really believe that the Houston craft beer scene is the best in the state of Texas. And as part of the proof of that, St. Arnold, which is a brewery that's won Mid-Sized Brewery of the Year before and has been in operation for now 30 years. They are the oldest craft brewery in Texas, and they're located right here in our backyard. We've had their reps on a number of times on this show. They make great beers.
Brock,
And they have released a 30th anniversary beer.
Brock, the guy that owns St. Arnold. First off, a lot of their releases are beers that I love. A lot of their seasonals and stuff, beers that I love. And so,
Don't get me started on their Oktoberfest. It's, in my opinion, one of the best
so good.
Oktoberfests
It's so
in
good. So-
the world.
but this guy, can you imagine 30 years ago jumping through the hoops to open up a brewery?
Yeah, because nobody was doing this.
Nobody
back
was
then.
doing it. It's not like he literally tore down so many barriers to make it so that people could start doing this in Texas.
Yeah.
He tore down so many barriers and showed so many people like this is how it gets done, and he's an absolute icon.
He's an icon for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
in that industry, it's amazing. And this is their 30th anniversary double barrel imperial stout coming in at 18.9%.
Oh, that's all. Okay, good. Just their
Alcohol
Grand
level.
Cru.
Grand Cru.
30th anniversary Grand
30th
Cru.
anniversary Grand Cru is a culmination of our most ambitious endeavors in barrel-aged beer over the last 5 years. At its core is our commitment imperial stout, which we aged in a variety of different bourbon barrels and whiskey barrels for different durations.
You know what's interesting is St. Arnold doesn't have an imperial stout that's available year-round.
They do not.
All of their stouts are limited.
seasonal, yeah.
Yeah, limited and seasonal. But man, do they know what they're doing.
Their winter stout
When it
is
comes-
outrageous. Their
Amazing. The Christmas ale.
commitment, the Christmas ale is not a stout though.
I know, but it's amazing.
Christmas ale is so good. Between 2 and 4 years, the barrels were then in different barrels durations between 2 and 4 years. The barrels were then blended into sweet and fortified wine barrels, Takaji, Madeira, and Tawny Port for additional aging. The final beer is an homage to opulence, something truly special to commemorate 30 years of brewing superb beer. And here's the thing about them. Their core line is good, but I don't reach
It
for
is.
it. I reach for every single seasonal. Their Summer Pils is outrageous. Their Springbok is so good.
Yeah, the seasonals are all amazing, but let me tell you, their Juicy IPA is one of the best juicies out there. It's really, really good consistently, and their Harmony, which is the pale ale, is also fantastic. And you know what? Their amber, these are all their regular beers. That amber is one of the better ambers on the market. So I know what you're saying about the seasonals, and I love their seasonals. Their Oktoberfest kills me. It's so
The first time I went to St. Arnold Brewery, it was in a different location than it is now. It was over off of 290.
Yep.
In a little business park out there, and
Mitchelldale.
And a friend of mine called me up, and he goes, "Hey man, my band is playing at the St. Arnold Brewery. You should come by." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds like it'd be fun." He goes, "There'll be free beer." Well, hell, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I battle traffic. It was a Friday, I think. I battle traffic. I get over there. I find a place to park. And I walk inside, and there's little cups like the ones we have here. Little cups like this.
Yeah.
It's like, just go over there, and they'll just fill it with beer. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. So I'm standing over by the bar, and that's when I got introduced to their brown ale. So good, their brown ale. I love their brown ale.
Yep.
And I'm standing by the bar, and then the band takes a break, and my buddy comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, why are you standing over here? Come check out the band." I was like, "'Cause beer." And he goes, "Oh, if you walk over there and you buy a pint glass," I think you know where this is going.
Yes, I think I do.
So about an hour later, I'm on the payphone, because yes, payphone. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had a pager at this time.
It's a while back.
Yes. So about an hour later, I'm calling my brother-in-law. I'm like, "Dave, you're going to have to come save me." He's like, "Oh, what's going on, man?" And so I explained the situation to him. I had a few too many drinks. He's going to need to come get me. Dave comes in. And he's like, "So what's the deal, man?" I said, "Well, you grab one of these cups, and I'll go fill it up over there.
Now I know where this is
Or you can go over there and buy a pint glass." So about an hour after that, we're calling my sister. And my sister's like, "What do you mean you both need a ride home?"
Great story, and tells you a great deal about how good the beer is. It
It was the best, man. Those guys are awesome.
It really.
This is fantastic.
This is wonderful, and I will take some more. Thank you.
Yeah, I love this. This is so ridiculous and big and sticky, and I've been talking so much that I haven't had a chance to drink mine.
I saw this come up on Instagram the other
Yeah,
day, so
yeah.
I'm glad that you brought. It literally just came out, and they were talking about it, and it popped up.
This has got as much of that Dazen Rate vibe as a barley wine does, but the mouthfeel is different.
I would say raisin date, but yes.
What did I say?
You
Dazen
said
Rate?
days and rate.
You
did.
Okay.
Good tequila.
Hang on a second. I got to call my brother to see if he can come pick me up after the show.
This is very barley wine territory. Coming in at 18% too. It's outrageously alcoholic, and it's so good. This
So
beautiful,
this
dark,
is-
oily-looking liquid.
This is the type of thing that they used to have lines around the brewery when it would come out, and that doesn't happen so much anymore. But it doesn't mean the beer
Well, I
is
think
any
they ramped up
less
the production to a
outstanding.
point, to the point where you can find it now. You know, you can just
yeah,
get
because
it.
when I got this at Specs, and there was quite a lot of it there.
Yeah, these things used to be so limited because they only had so much capacity, but they got a bigger place and they just brew more of it now.
I love that. St. Arnold, you guys, we are in awe of you, and seriously, we should be. I mean, this is not just another brewery. This is one that has stood the test of time. They showed up early. They did it. They kept doing it, and they're one that I guarantee you, the younger breweries, their brewmasters, all look up to these.
Oh
guys.
yeah,
Every one
100%.
of them. Every one of them. So, wow, what a fun show this was. I'm not even sure what the rate and dazen of the show is, but we'll figure it out at some point. Thank you guys for being a part of this program as we do craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We have had a wonderful time. Next week, show number 390. And do we have a new wine expert joining us on next week's show?
So we have Thomas Marcel is going to join us next week, and he's going to come in and impart some wine knowledge on us. Now we have our current wine expert, Mark Burrell, who's a legend in the Houston wine scene, apparently. And but I thought it'd be nice to have like a fresh and different perspective. Everyone has their own taste on stuff, so we're gonna have Thomas come in. Thomas also is a former bass student of mine from many years ago.
Oh, okay. But here's the important question: is he bringing wine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we'll see you next week. Have a great one, my friends. Enjoy yourselves and be careful out there. And cheers, y'all.